Are you ready for pain? Are you ready for suffering? If the answer is yes, then you're ready.
You know those games that we all download that are like Candy Crush but not Candy Crush? Well, last night I downloaded one simply because I thought that it had queer content in it, like the make matches and then fix up a house, and I thought it was going to be for a lesbian couple. Turns out it was not. But it got me thinking this morning, why aren't there games like that? I would download the worst game in the world just to have the queer content. So if you make games, or you work for someone that makes games, or you know people that do that kind of stuff, do it. I know that I would spend money on the in-game app store just so I could further along these queer people's lives. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Make a game.
I'm not even going to roast this person because they are actually highlighting a huge problem in gaming right now. There is a forced lack of diversity painting the world as if everyone in it is white, straight, cisgender, able-bodied, and male. Devs are trying to fix this problem by adding much needed representation into their games. But then we have fragile video gamers who have been catered to their entire lives, getting upset because not every character is relatable to them. They can't even see past their own entitlement to imagine how the rest of us must feel. Here's the thing though, as I said, devs are working on it, they understand that it is a problem, so for people like this, I can only say one thing. Get over it.
I would be more than happy to enlighten you on that. So the reason that we're all having a problem with this picture of Aloy here is because she looks just fine. But of course, these toxic gamers don't think that. In fact, there were several discussions on why Aloy looks too masculine to be the lead character. Some even went as far as to put transphobic comments against her. And because the new game is coming out on new hardware, you can see details on the face you couldn't see before, i.e. the peach fuzz that's on everybody's face, including women. However, toxic little man-baby incels don't think that women should have that. Therefore, they go about fixing them. Honestly, I could go on and on, but I hope that helps.
Hey guys, check out this new game that I think is fucked up, that I don't think we need, but is out there in the universe. So basically, you are fat, and either you can lose weight along the way, or you can choose to eat food, and if you eat too much, then you're gonna... and what does it lead to? A scale. I don't know why we need games like this in the universe, especially when there's so much fat phobia, but it's really not healthy. Like, mentally. I don't want it. I don't like it either. What do you...
Look at how she walk when she walk to me. Shit like this brings the movement down. Everyone's a feminist until there is a spider around.
I just had a really cute moment with my students, and it was a great learning moment. If any of you teachers are using the program ST Math this year, you might know their mascot, Gigi. As an incentive, my school has this little Gigi stuffed animal, and any grade that has the most ST Math lessons passed gets to have Gigi and host her for the week. My class got the opportunity to have Gigi, and that was really exciting, but there was a learning moment. Students asked me, is Gigi a she or is it a he? And I said, I don't know. One of the students said, well, maybe they're non-binary. And I had a student say, well, let's just look between Gigi's legs. And I said, well, we don't know a person's gender by looking between their legs. And then my student was like, oh yeah, that's right. So we decided to call Gigi they, them. It's moments like these that remind me why I got into teaching. These small moments can make such a big difference to kids' lives, and I'm honored that I get to have these moments with these awesome kids.
I attended the Game Devs of Color Expo last weekend, and first off, I'm just going to say it was super validating. It got me thinking a lot about representation and diversity because there isn't a lot of diverse representation in games, and that's because there is a lack of diversity in the game industry itself. But diverse people bring different perspectives and things that I often don't think about. There isn't much Asian representation in mainstream media that isn't stereotypical, and when there is, I get really excited because I feel seen and I feel heard and I feel like it's super relatable. And as an Asian American, I can feel not Asian enough and also not American enough. And in my case, it's a little more complex because my parents are Japanese, but they are from Brazil. So I am Japanese, Brazilian, and American. And in a lot of ways, my family is more Brazilian than we are Japanese in terms of like language and stuff like that. So it's definitely a different experience. And So I already get excited about Asian representation in games and movies and stuff and TV shows, and I can't even imagine what it would be like to see someone who is like Japanese Brazilian on a show like that. I would go nuts because it would be so relatable, and I don't think that would ever happen, at least with the current state of things. And what's crazy is that there are actually a lot of Japanese Brazilian people. It's just that you never see that. But that's why diversity is important, because now you get all these different experiences from people that you never would have known about. And the characters in my game are inspired by a lot of my personal experiences. So even though no one is in my game is technically like Asian American or Japanese Brazilian, they still kind of show off a lot of like what I had to go through.
This comment was left on a video of a woman who had been murdered. She had a daughter. She had divorced her dude and was probably trying to see somebody else. Divorced, kicked him out of the fucking house. And he was listening in on a feature on her daughter's iPad, heard a male voice, came over and shot them both. And this is the smooth brain comment that somebody left on that video. And it has 91 likes. Sir, you're a fucking creature. You're just an absolute fucking creature. When women say that there are bigots on this app, look no further than any comment section where a woman got. And you'll find these creatures right here.
I don't understand what is so hard about correcting other people when they misgender others. Like, it takes you like 2 seconds, but you know what it takes for me to have to constantly do that? A lot of fucking unnecessary emotional labor that I already have to take on a daily basis just to fucking exist and be who I am. But you don't have the energy to speak up and say something on my behalf? And I just have to keep white-knuckling this?
Oh, do you have a boyfriend yet? That's pretty heteronormative for you to assume.
What was that, my dear?
That being heterosexual or attracted to the opposite sex is what's normal and natural. It's also based on the idea that there's only 2 genders and ignores the rest of the gender spectrum.
Your generation is so advanced. But go on, I'm listening.
In heteronormativity, being queer is seen as like other or different. But our relationship is totally gentle and natural and loving.
You two are an item?
Oops. It's our 2-week anniversary.
Well, I think that's
lovely.
I'm a cool granny. I'm a cool granny.
Women! I love women!
I'm just here looking for your mansplainiest mansplains that any man has ever splained to you.
Breastfeeding. I got mansplained breastfeeding when I was pregnant by men that worked in my office because they thought they knew it all.
Again, trying to convince you and themselves that white people cannot experience racism.
Black people cannot be racist. Racism is actually 2 words, and ism is a system. The word race was coined in the 16th century by the English to categorize human beings. This system of categorization gave anybody with white skin land, tools, and other resources, and made anybody with color in their skin a slave. That system, put in place all those years ago, still statistically affects Black people and people of color today. See, the only people who can tap into this system of white power is white Americans, statistically. And a person of color being afforded a position of power to uphold a racist system is only okayed by a white person, therefore they're not being racist, they're being tokenized. Black people can be coons, Black people can be prejudiced, but until we have all Black juries sentencing white men, or we have all Black police forces over policing white neighborhoods, or white people are pulled over at 3 times the rate and not Black people, or Congress isn't all white and actually represents the diversity of the nation, Black people cannot be racist.
So today in my gender studies course, my professor brought up this robot that I think everyone on the internet knows. This one right here, I think her name's Sophie, and a conversation about why gender is a social construct. So I ended up telling my professor that I believe Sophie is the ultimate genderless and sexless being because she is created from circuit boards and metal. Like, there is no biology involved in creating her, yet she is intentionally gendered with secondary sex characteristics. She's got a high voice, she wears makeup, all this stuff. And notice how I've been using female pronouns to talk about her, right? And it made me think about that argument transphobes always use about it's simple biology when they want to intentionally misgender a trans person. But then we'll look at this robot and unconsciously start using female pronouns because they see a woman robot. Like, do they not understand that they have just admitted that gender is not based on biology because this is a hunk of metal that they are gendering? They would sooner gender a hunk of metal than a human person. Do they realize how fucking stupid they sound?
My music hits me so hard, makes me say,
oh my god.